All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakach Kodash. Double honor to the apostles, bishops, elders, GMS, Shalom to you, brothers, preaching His truth, in sincerity across the four winds of the earth, and Shalom to the few sisters that follow and listen as well. This one is going to be a two-part video, but this first video is going to be a little bit shorter, because I want to get some other accounts and stuff like that in the scriptures or whatever. But we just gonna go through the spirit right now. But the title is probably gonna be "Follow the Blueprint" or "Trust in the Blueprint" or something along those lines, maybe. See how the spirit works and what it gives me for the title. But what made me make this video was Saturday evening, or Saturday night, we'll say. Saturday night, I got a desk. I ordered a desk, right? And this is going to get to, I'm going to give the testimony what made me want to do this video. And then the second part too, Lord willing. So I ordered a desk, and I was starting to put it together. I was putting it together. I was following the instructions, so on and so forth. I was putting it together, and I was telling my woman, I was like, because I was pretty much at the end finishing the desk, and it was two things that I was saying that didn't make sense. I was like, this doesn't make sense. But I'm like, because on here, on the blueprint, it's telling me for on these two sides of the desk to put the screw in here, but on this side it has the same exact hole, right, to go to put it in. I was like, why is it not telling me to put it in? I was like, okay. Like at first I was like, I'm gonna do it anyway, but I was like, you know what, let me just follow along in the instructions. It didn't say to do that, so let me not do it. And I was explaining to her, like, I don't know why they did that. It's weird that they did that, so on and so forth. And then there also in the desk there was one like a screw cap. There was just one. I was like, why is there only one? It doesn't make sense. I was like, because if this is going here, then so on and so forth. And then lo and behold, when I got to the end, pretty much after I got past the part of me being confused, I got to the end to where I was putting the last piece on, and then it all came together. I was like, oh, okay. Now I see why this screw was left over and it wasn't filled in at that time, where the other ones were filled in. And then now I see why there's only one, cap, screw head, or whatever. I don't know what they're called, but I was like, now I see why there's only one of that. It's because this one is like acting as you would have to see the instructions and understand what I was saying, but to understand, to get the full picture. But long story short, and when I finally realized, I was like, this is why you just followed the blueprint. These people that make these desks, they're the ones that's measuring it, putting the pieces together, doing this, doing that. And I was like, but me, being me, just the person that's reading and trying to put it together, I'm, trying to question the people that's really made it. And I thought about it, I was like, this is why, I was like, I'm gonna make a video on this, and this is why it goes back to just following the blueprint. Because the people that made the desk, that measured out the pieces, that know this screw goes here, this type of screw goes here, this screw so on and so forth, the people that made it, nobody knows that desk better than the people that helped make made the desk, that did the measurements, that put that screw there, that did this, that they went through trial and error. And I was like, you know what, that made me think about, the scriptures, right? And I was like, when you really think about it, it's the same exact thing. Instead of me, and this is what people do, instead of me trying to figure it out my own way and trying to confound and trying to question why is it like this, is because read the blueprint for what it is, right? And certain things, like for an example, things that you're supposed to eat and things you're not supposed to eat, right? Unclean beast and clean beast. The blueprint of certain beasts was not the way that they were made was not made to mesh with, the your body's, blood cells, so on and so forth. It wasn't made to mesh with that. So that's why the Most High said not to eat it. He said, don't eat this because it is. Follow the blueprint. And this is why you have all these health issues and all this stuff going on, is because you're not following the blueprint. Just the same thing with everyday life out here about the, Sabbath, wearing, different type of fabrics and so on and so forth. It goes on and on and on. And certain laws, the laws were put in forth for our benefit. And people make it seem like the law is hindering you from doing something. And it's not. There's a reason why you have high blood pressure and you all out of shape and all this other stuff is because of the diet. You're eating a lot of things that was never meant to be put inside your body. And for an example, pork. Pork is like the main thing with Jake. That wasn't made to go with your body. I've done a lot of research about pork and how nasty really the animal is. There's no, from what the research that I've seen, there's no safe temperature to cook pork at to get rid of all the parasites. Because when you cook stuff, you get rid of the parasites, you get all the nasty stuff out pretty much before you ingest it. And for pork, since they don't sweat, they don't have the sweat glands, they don't do any of these things, they eat anything. So if there's not a way for them to how do I say it? There's no way for them to get rid of all those toxins and those things from whatever they're consuming, and then you're putting that in your body, what do you think is going on inside you? You see? But the thing is, a pig was made to consume all these type of things. His body, his enzymes, the way his digestive system works, so on and so forth, was made to digest and to break down, different types of carcasses and different, rubbish, garbage, and all types of stuff. That's how they were made. But your body wasn't made to consume them. You see, there's plenty of clean beasts and unclean beasts, but that goes back to just following the blueprint. That's just something small. Right? Also, just in with your everyday life. When Yahushua said, "What? I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves." You have to be wise as serpents, harmless as dove. That is another thing about following the blueprint. Understanding your surroundings. Yahushua is not, Yahweh Bashem Yahushua is not going to tell you to watch yourself and where you are and how to conduct yourself if it wasn't conducive for you. And that's why you see these Jake, when they don't follow the blueprint, what happens? When let's for example, when you got to talk to the police or they get pulled over, what do? I know my rights. Buck up, yell at them, do this, and give them a hard time, and that gives them to what? Slamming. They get them to do what? You're making them angry, and then what are they gonna do? They're gonna slam you, put the knee on your neck, Worst comes to worst, shoot you, so on and so forth, man. But if you were to follow the blueprint and be like, okay, you have to be wise as serpent, but harmless as doves. So therefore, and that's why the scriptures say, agree with thy adversary quickly. Follow the blueprint. Follow it. Agree with the adversary quickly. Why? It's because these people have, like that scripture also says, stay far away from the man that has power to kill, man. So you're supposed to agree. The cops say you gotta get out of the car or so on and so forth. You just comply. You make their job easier and you making your job easier. Because, when you talk to them and you show them respect and you having manners, so on and so forth, then they respect you back and it makes everything a lot easier. But when you want to buck up and you already in captivity, they already don't like you. So now you're giving them a more reason to inflict damage and harm on you because you're being hard-headed. That's why you got to just follow the blueprint, man. And stop trying to question and try to figure it out your own way. Because obviously, the Most High ways are way higher than us. So if he tells you not to eat something, not to wear this, not to do this on certain days, not to do this, it's a reason behind it. And let me actually start off with that. Commandments. are not. Actually, no. Here we go. Put this. It's like it. Not great. Not grievous. Here, spelled it wrong. All right, we got right here. This is 1 John. We're going to start at 1 at the top. It says, overcoming the world. This is 1 John 5 and verse 1. It says, whosoever believeth that Yahushua is Mashiach is born of the Most High. It says, and everyone that loveth him that beget loveth him, also that is begotten of him. By this we know that we love the children of the Most High, when we love the Most High and keep his commandments. It says, for this is the love of the Most High, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous. And there's something grievous. Let's find out what grievous means, right? Which I know what it means, but we don't get it right here. Burdensome. It says heavier, heavy. It says weighter. It says heavy in weight. It says burdensome, severe, stern. See? Unsparing, cruel. That's what it means. And the commandments are not what? They're not a burden. It's not a burden for you not to eat things you're not supposed to. It's not a burden. You people make it seem like a burden because you people think you can just do whatever you want to do. No. You see? And I want to get this. It says laws about animals for food. This is Leviticus 11 and 1. It says, and the Lord spake unto Moses and to Aaron, saying unto them, speak unto the children of Israel, not everybody, to the Israelites. It says, saying, these are the beasts which you shall eat among all the beasts that are on the earth. You see, and then it goes down. I'm not gonna read. I'll read a little bit. But you see, there's a blueprint. There's beasts that you can eat. There's beasts that you can't eat. Everything that you see walking around was not meant to be consumed, man. It says, whatsoever part of the hoof and is cloven-footed and cheweth the cud among the beasts, that shall ye eat. Nevertheless, these shall ye not eat of them that chew the cud, or them that divideth the hoof, as the camel, because he cheweth the cud, but divideth not the hoof, he is unclean unto you. You see? And the coney, because he cheweth the cud, but divideth not the hoof, he is unclean unto you. And the hare, because he cheweth the cud, but divided not the hoof, he is unclean to you. And the swine, it says, though he divide the hoof and be cloven-footed, yet he cheweth not the cud, he is unclean. He is unclean to you. You see, so the blueprint of what things that you can and cannot do, and that just goes on with everything else, man. That goes along with everything else. When it comes to what you're supposed to do, what you can do, and what you can't do on the Sabbath day, right? And the list just goes on, and it's just so much. That's why I said it's gonna be a part 2, because I want to get certain things in the scriptures, because there's multiple examples of people not following the blueprint, and there's plenty of examples of people following the blueprint, right? For an example, King Saul didn't follow the blueprint, right? When King Saul was told, what was it that he was supposed to, correct me if I'm wrong, King Saul was supposed to, I think he was supposed to, he's supposed to kill this, I forgot what nation, a certain nation, and I believe that he ended up keeping, he didn't destroy like all the land or all the beasts or the animals or the people, and he started keeping people for himself and stuff like that. But the Most High told you not to do that. No, don't do that. Do this. This is what I need you to do. And I'm gonna get that correct for the part 2. So I definitely want to bring that example up. All right, I just got to refresh my memory. Right, and this is why you do what you're supposed to do, man. It's because the person Yahweh Bashim Yahshai knows what's best for us, man. Right, you're not going to outsmart or what is the word, outsmart, or think of a better way to do something than somebody that created everything. And that's exactly what brings me back to when I was putting the desk together. I was over here questioning this and questioning. I'm like, bro, this don't make sense. Why do they do this? But then when you follow the blueprint and you got to the end, it all made sense why everything was what it was. You see? So we have to follow the blueprint, man. And there's so many examples of things that we're supposed to do and things we're not supposed to do. And then that's also where what trusting the process, which is what trusting in Yahweh Bashim Yahushai comes into play. Because if you trust in the Lord, right, if you trust in the Lord, then you believe the words, and therefore you believe the blueprint. And you're going to follow that blueprint to the best of your ability, which is what we do. Or we try. Obviously, we're not going to get it right on this side, but in time to come, yes. So that's it for the part one. Like I said, I want to get some other scriptures and some accounts to go into a part two. It might be a 3-part, but I did want to go into this so far. So hopefully this was edifying, man. Follow the blueprint, and Lord willing, a part 2 comes. So that's it. That's all I'm going to say.